Okay, we kind of went over this already during my long-winded discussion of the committees, but the discussion of the 2016 work plan, which, oh, you know what? This actually means we're only 5 minutes late because we have, okay. So we already talked about it, that the subcommittees will be established at the February meeting, but the discussion here is each subcommittee should have a minimum of 4 members. And the reason we thought that was important is because some of the committees only had 3 members, and then if someone lost interest or was totally slammed at work and couldn't participate, it didn't really seem fair to have 1 or 2 people do the bulk of the work. If you have 4 people, sure, there's a chance you're gonna deadlock 2 against 2 and you can't decide how to move forward, but you'd have a better chance of having more people to actually participate, to show up to your subcommittee meetings, and to kind of move things along. So, is there any discussion about, and honestly, it says, I think this is more of a suggestion than an edict, but what do you guys think about that of wanting to have at least 4 members?
Being part of a subcommittee, I think that's good, because there's, like you said, there's times that not all of them can meet every single week or month or whatever time we do, and it's always good to have a spare. Tina? Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
That's okay, I've got a blank spot over here, I guess.
Okay, so just a comment. So our subcommittee in theory had 4 members, and really there was just 2. So I think what also needs to just be considered by the group is if you are going to volunteer to be on the subcommittee, please make sure that you are allocating enough time, to serve on the subcommittee, because otherwise it turns into, an issue. And I know that's, it's hard to judge what the work capacity is going to be and blah, blah, but that should also be part of your consideration. So, I don't know, just an idea. I thought I would put that out there.
Well, no, that's actually a good thing, because people's circumstances do change, and it could be that someone really wants to serve, they're interested, and then, I don't know, their mom gets sick, or their work hours get increased, or their shift gets changed. And so then, I think it would be more than fair that at the time subcommittees are formed, that we actually put the caveat out there, if you find that you don't have the time or now the passion to serve, that you let the group know and recruit someone else. That way, the bulk of the work isn't going to fall on 1 or 2 people, which I think has happened in the past.
I just think as long as we're forming subcommittees based on a work plan, that people just keep that in mind. However, we want to say that it's
Oh, I know.
I just think it's important though to put it out there.
Okay,
So.
sure. No, I think that's great, Tina, thank you. Okay, so we're not going to be forming committees now, but what we thought we would do is capture for the February meeting some suggested topics that might be worked on, because if you've ever written anything, you know that when you see a blank piece of paper, you're like, oh my God. But if somebody already gives you words on paper, you go, oh, I like this. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, let's move this around. So we're thinking it's easier to edit than to create. So what we're hoping is that tonight we can come up with 3, 4, 5 ideas. We have 2 already, so basically I'm only asking you from 1 to 3. But some ideas that we can put to the group for discussion, because we have to have people that are interested and want to serve to go forward. So the 2 subjects that I was given to add for consideration for next month's meeting is crime/public safety. That's always huge. And then the other was planning and land use/development, which is also getting to be kind of important, especially since we want to move forward with urban villages. People don't quite understand yet what all the rules are around it, what has to happen, what's the series of triggers that are going to make things happen. So those are the 2 broad topics that I was given. And honestly, we did word/word, word/word, because they are such broad topics. And so,
Oh no, I'll let you finish. I just had a suggestion when you were done.
Oh, well, right now I'm just talking, hoping to give people a time to think of ideas, because nothing's worse than, I need your ideas. Okay, right now, you got to give people time to kind of percolate. So please go right
I'm
ahead.
chomping at the bit. So
We like that.
I think those are really, good, and there's great potential to be able to get some, some work done. I would like to add and just you guys could kick it around as well. One that I mentioned last year, and I'd still like to make it an emphasis, would be membership. Would be, you know, how do we fill the seats here with the other communities and neighborhoods that aren't here regularly. Like we have Stephanie today from Arroyo Verde, which I just think is amazing. Thank you for taking the time and the energy. As you all know, it's extra above and beyond, you know, what you're already doing in your own neighborhood. But this is it's a great place for us to kind of be one big community. And so I think that could be a really important role and something that, you know, for you to consider. The other one, which is new and what came about this year, I'd love to see this group play more of a role in the participatory budgeting, especially if we get that going next year. Obviously, Pete has been, you know, huge from the beginning, and so we wanted to lean on CLC. I'd like to lean more on you in the future in your leadership in getting more of the D3 members involved. I think we have a pretty good shot at making PB an ongoing part of the budget, at least for District 3. And the hope is that, you know, the dollars also increase. But it's gonna need continual sort of, you know, participation, and so it will need support. And so I think that this group could also be a really, you know, great group for that, which would maybe require a subcommittee or even potentially a standing committee year after year, if that is something that we end up getting year after year. So just two things I think to think about.
Oh, I like those, I think both of those are good. Did anybody else have enough time? Tina, did you have an idea?
Oh, no, I don't have an idea, but I have a comment on the
Oh, okay.
that was presented, not
Okay.
including what Raul just said.
Okay.
So, to me, crime and public safety is huge, so I think I would want clarification. Would it be up to the subcommittee then to decide where they're gonna go with crime and public safety, or, you know what I mean? They're just really huge topics.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
And then also same with planning and land use development. I mean, we could, you know, what about that? I mean, is there anything specific? Like what Raul suggested, participatory budgeting is pretty specific, and also membership's really specific. So I just think drilling down, if we are indeed gonna have these two topics,
Yeah.
would be helpful for me to know, oh, do I want to raise my hand or not? You know what I mean?
Got it. Well, when these were first suggested, one of the first ideas about public safety was the idea of reaching out and doing, I don't want to say outreach, doing education, much the same as we've had presentations in the past from the independent police auditor, from, you know, different members of the crime prevention unit, or whatever. But it was felt that some people at the table already know about that, but we want to get people to the table that don't know things like this and that we can reach them. And the education was a big component of the planning and land use development as well, only because we've got so many people out in the neighborhoods that see these big signs that say future development coming here, and they go, what does it mean? How do we find this out? What, you know, what's the process? So I think both of those components were there for education and outreach, but that, of course, is gonna be clarified at the February meeting. And after the public safety education thing, then, of course, you know, people chime in, well, you know, crime in general is something everybody's concerned with, and, you know, could we find out what the actual crime stats are? But that was a little too specific to put in here, so, but, you know, I mean, we know the police department has a website that actually has crime stats, if you know what to look for and where to look. And so that might be something the subcommittee might be able to work to do, you know. Do you think car burglaries have increased in your neighborhood? Here's how you find out. And if it hasn't and you think it has, are your neighbors reporting it?
Sorry, yeah. Dee, go ahead, yeah.
I just want to add, for the crime and public safety possible subcommittee, perhaps we can get our D3 leaders, community leaders that are here engaged more, like getting, you know, having a ride-along with the sergeant possibly, so we can go more in depth into the neighborhood safety and see it from another point.
And then bring that forward to the rest of the group. That's what we had talked about, a lot of dive deep into planning and land use stuff, which isn't everybody's cup of tea, but then bring forth what we've learned to the rest of the people around the table as a presentation at a meeting or something like that, so that everybody's educated a little bit.
Sounds good.
Same thing, Dee, yeah.
a few areas, I think, where to narrow it down to as well. Tina was kind of pointing out where my mind was going, where these could hopefully go. One was certainly the crime prevention or neighborhood watch trainings. Like how do we get those and facilitate those in the community? Dee just really helped in that regard, in El Rancho Verde, right? And how do we get more of those? Those are really some things, those are, what do you call those, expendable skills, right? Already, you forget after a few years on what it is you're supposed to do. One of the most important things on the crime prevention neighborhood watch training is know who your neighbors are, right? And in 5 years, the neighbors can change, right? If you don't go out there and actually get their name and number, and you haven't said hi. So I think that's perishable skills, that's what we call it. But that's one area of crime in public safety. The other I thought about quickly was like the coffee with a cop that we did, and they're starting to do those more. Kind of how do you organize, how do we help the different neighborhoods organize a coffee with a cop event or something like that in one of their neighborhoods. So that's just.
What is that?
The San Jose Police Department is now engaging in a national sort of project called Coffee with a Cop, and what it is it's police officers that go out to a coffee shop, and it's literally just a few hours of informal conversations with officers. And so where you from the community can come and sit down and meet some of your officers and have a dialogue. It's to break down that barrier of who are you? You're just a uniform with a badge, or the officers also knowing who their community members are. And so we've only done one so far in the city, but certainly if there's I think if there's more interest, or if the community saying, hey, we loved it and we want more of those, that could be something that this subcommittee could work on. The last one in land use and planning, this is actually could be extremely helpful. District 3 right now, and this is going to fluctuate, right? But because of the time right now, District 3 has the most development of any other district. And it's actually been really hard even for our team to manage literally the dozens and dozens and dozens of developments that are going on. And being able to plan and coordinate with your neighborhood, those community meetings, making sure people are coming out to meet the developer, hear about the project, provide your input. Sometimes we show up and there's one or two people, and so that's, it's sad that that's the case. So nonetheless, those are two maybe specifics in the areas where could be more broad.
Those are excellent suggestions. Pete, you had your hand up?
Yeah, one thing, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock at the Fairmont Hotel downtown is coffee with the captain, the new police captain, Dave Tyndall. So at the Fairmont in the lobby bar or lobby area and stuff like that, you'll see a group. I've been to most of these, they're great. The coffee with the captains, I think the coffee with the cop was up at Roy's, wasn't it?
It was at Roy's,
Yeah, I don't know, I'd missed that one.
Well, it was nice though that the Mercury News had covered it,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then it actually got people to understand that this was a program that was being tried. And it was a cute little picture. I mean, people looked really happy to be there, so.
I'd like to throw two more possible committee ideas back out. Traffic calming, which we did this year, and I think we've got a lot more work to do. But if you look at the ideas submitted on the participatory budgeting stuff, 2/3 of them are traffic related. And it's various speed humps, various things. But it's a sore point for most of us living here. And then the other one that floats high on that list is wayfinding signage. So somebody here mentioned the gates into Hensley. This is our neighborhood, we're proud of it. We could have smaller, cheaper signs that say, welcome to Market Almaden, welcome to Oland, or, things like that, just to give some sort of identity that would be not that expensive too.
Wouldn't it be nice if you had one of those signs, now leaving Roosevelt Park?
Turn out the lights behind you.
Yeah, that's it. Come back soon.
But yeah, that type of thing, and where are the assets downtown? So we have all these conventioneers coming, how do we get them from the convention center off into SOFA or over to San Jose State, for God's sake? I mean, there's nothing that actually says this is this place, this important place in the city, So things like that, so wayfinding in general.
I think that's a great idea. Okay, so as my last